So I think there is a very lazy comparison that is made with Alien Earth. And I too am guilty of making that comparison because it was my first thought when I saw the series. And that lazy comparison is that I compared it to Andor almost immediately. And by that, I just meant that it's exceptional television. But the more I thought about it, I realized that Alien Earth is very different from Andor. Like, so, where Andor was great was that it kind of mined the lesser themes of Star Wars and moved away from Jedi and lightsabers and what we often associate as being the Star Wars-y things about the franchise.
Yeah.
It went in the direction of politics and rebellion and repression and all of that stuff, which have been recurring themes throughout every single Star Wars product. But, of course, all of that takes a second seat often to and all of that stuff. Alien Earth is very different in that what Noah Hawley has done is that he seems to have embraced everything that Alien is. Like, you watch the first episode of this, and Alien is a lot of things, right? There are 7 core Alien movies. I'm not counting AVP, Alien vs. Predator, or the video games. I'm just talking about the 7 core movies. And the 7 core movies have been very different things. Ridley Scott started off making a horror flick with undertones of science fiction and corporate corruption and all of that stuff. And then James Cameron steps in and makes one of the best war movies ever made, right? It's a sci-fi action war film. And then Alien 3 is this prison planet drama.
I've always felt Alien 3 was just such a real gear shift. I mean, I know when the movies were made, they were made over so many years, so they could attempt a gear shift. But trying to watch them in a row just feels like a real fucking gear shift for me.
And then, when you think about Prometheus and Covenant, when Ridley Scott came back into the franchise, he added all of this religiosity and hard sci-fi elements in trying to explain the history of how everything came to be, etc., etc. And then Romulus kind of took it back into its horror roots. Now, I say that because Alien has been either a horror movie or a sci-fi movie or an action movie, and on occasion it has been a combination of those things. What Noah Hawley has done is that he has mined those 7 movies and made it everything. Alien Earth tries to bring in all of those elements. There are hard sci-fi elements. There are some pretty fucking great horror elements. There is all of that tension with corporations running the Earth and cyborgs and synthetics and something new that's being constructed by this child prodigy dude. All of this stuff. And man, we're 2 episodes in. I am so invested in this show. There's this great mystery. Like, despite us having been exposed to so much Alien content, I am still watching it and itching to find out what happens next.
The key in for me was when I read that the series is set 2 years prior to the first Alien film. So this is one of those times when knowing the timeline of a universe really helps me get involved, because then it's like, oh shit, this is the first time humans in that universe are essentially engaging with the xenomorph, right? So that makes it exciting. I think the other thing that I think Noah Hawley did very well, and I am truly appreciative, is that there is a relationship. We know what the relationship is. Noah Hawley just goes, yeah, introduces them all, and it's done. Because they just move the story along. I'm trying to avoid it. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. But a lesser show, Netflix, will make that the arc of the first season. You know, there'll be the will they, won't they, are they going to tell each other, blah, blah, blah. No, it gets resolved, we're moving on. It then doesn't become the main story. It doesn't become the baggage that the writers have to resolve at some point and play with as the episode goes on, right? They keep dragging it along. Here, the reveal gets revealed, and now let's go hunt some fucking monsters. That was great. I also love the fact that the first 20 minutes of the episode really feels like 1979 Alien. I think that was fantastic.
All of the production design, all of the color design.
Camera work. I'm sorry. I have always hated a cross dissolve. But good God, I'm glad the cross dissolve is back.
He really plays with all of those swipes and dissolves, just like Ridley did in the first movie. And it isn't just an homage, though. In this one, Noah Hawley kind of makes it a part of the experience. There's also this very cool thing he does between episodes 1 and 2. You know how they usually do the previously on Alien Earth?
Yeah.
In this one, scenes from the last episode just kind of play out over the title screen. And you know how that Alien title screen unfolds, right? You see white bars slowly appear on screen until it spells out the word Alien. They use that here as well. And it's just flashes of what came before. You're caught up. Let's move things along.
It's just enough to get you back in the mood and going back into the new episode.
Alien Earth kind of centers around Sydney Chandler's character, Wendy, who is the first hybrid. So there are synthetics, there are cyborgs, and then there are hybrids, which are bodies that have human consciousness transferred into them. So they're synthetic bodies, but they have actual human consciousness in them.
Where was the first time we saw that in the Alien universe?
I think this is the first
This is the first time?
I think so, because I know Bishop and all of those other characters were synths.
Yes.
So they had an
synths.
artificial intelligence.
Yes.
That's why you could like open their head and plug things in, right?
Yeah.
And so in this situation, and all of this is explained within the first 15-20 minutes of the series, what happens is there is this boy wonder who runs another corporation like Weyland-Yutani. And of course, the Earth is controlled by corporations, and this corporation is called Prodigy. And what he does is that he finds young children who are dying and gives them new life, essentially. What's interesting about this, of course, is that the show kind of takes on the morality of what is happening in the context of these massive corporations who seem to have complete and utter power over humanity. And I think that's another aspect of the Alien universe that hasn't necessarily been explored in great detail. I think this is the first time we're really seeing it. We've always seen the corporations kind of exercise their power. Even in Romulus, we saw how these robots behind glass windows are determining how long you work for, whether you live or die, etc., whether you can leave a planet or whether you can stay. And it's kind of touched upon and then moved on because, you know, we want to get to the horror bang bang stuff, right? And it's great. I'm really loving this deep dive into all of these separate aspects of the Alien universe, which a movie just doesn't allow you to do.
And you don't want a movie to do it, right? You don't want a movie to spend 15 minutes on the politics of Earth when you're stuck in space and you only have a 90-minute runtime. You don't want them to waste time there. But here, yeah, over 8 episodes, I think they can spend the time. And I hope they do. Like you said, we've only seen the first 2 episodes. And the first 2 episodes are quite focused on a handful of storylines. I hope moving forward that there is a wider look at the wider world. I think they mentioned there are 5 companies total that control Earth. I want to know who controls which areas. I want to know how that manifests itself in the world.
I mean, that might happen in season 2, if they ever get a season 2. Because I think what's interesting about the way this show is structured is that it still uses a very narrow inciting point, right? Weyland-Yutani still has a ship out there doing shitty things in typical Weyland-Yutani form, and there is a ship that's collecting specimens. And they're collecting dangerous fucking specimens.
Let's not forget the Nostromo is still out there.
The Nostromo is still out there.
And we don't know how many other ships there are, right? I think that's
exactly.
Key. Yes. Yeah.
This one crash lands on Earth, and it crash lands under Prodigy jurisdiction.
Thailand.
It crash lands in Thailand, correct. And they shot in Thailand as well.
They shot in Thailand,
under Prodigy jurisdiction. And what happens is that all of these elements come together because you have the military elements, the rescue crew, the medics, and then, of course, all of these new prodigy hybrids who are also sent to kind of ascertain what's going on. And I think all of that is a really clever way to bring it together because the xenomorphs are activated. There are new weird aliens inside cats, for example. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. And so the action elements and the horror elements are already at play with the sci-fi hybrid corporation elements kind of being in the background and providing the anchor for what's going to happen. It's just really fucking great writing, man. Like the structure of the narrative is so, I mean, it feels so simple when you think about it because you're watching it and you're like, oh, this makes perfect sense. But man, people have failed over and over again in trying to pull something like this off. And Noah Hawley has done something that is so incredibly tight. Like, it's just good.
The reason other people have tried and failed, and I don't particularly just mean Alien, but whenever anybody's tried to make an expansion of the universe,
yes,
using the Alien example would be that the Alien Earth TV series will just be, oh my god, xenomorph out on the planet, we have to stop it. That might be cool for the first 20 minutes of an episode, but after that, you're just like, give me something more, right? And I think that's the problem. I think if Alien Earth was just about the fall of the civilization on Earth because one xenomorph got out and then one xenomorph morphed into two xenomorphs and oh my god, there are other newer monsters, it just becomes blah. You know, it just becomes the first Alien, but instead of the Nostromo, it's on Earth and everybody dies anyway. I think that gets dull.
There's also a very cool additional element of these hybrids having the minds of children, right? There's a whole Peter Pan theme that Noah Hawley is kind of building on with the Lost Boys and all of that stuff, Wendy and the Lost Boys. And so that adds a separate element to what's going on. And then there's another thing that's really cool that I don't know if I have seen anywhere before. I'm not sure if it's from the video games or anywhere, but in episode 2, there is an interesting way that's used to subdue a xenomorph.
Yes,
I haven't
saw
seen that before, and I'm not
don't
sure
know
if
what
I'm
that's
just,
about. Yeah,
I'm not sure if I missed it, but
right.
Yes. So if
Yeah.
you've watched the episode and you know more about the Alien universe than we do, please chime in and let us know where that first happened or if it's something new.
I found that interesting because it implies that they had a solution for that problem.
I think so. That synth guy seems to know what's what.
Yeah, it's not a solution that they stumbled upon because that synth literally was just like, xenomorph down, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, and then we're good.
So that means, and I don't know if this is something they'll explore even further, but that means that Weyland-Yutani has been doing this shit for a lot longer.
Or they've at least engaged with the xenomorph before.
And even though this doesn't directly connect to Romulus, it makes sense with regards to what happens in Romulus with that experimentation that seems to be happening when they encounter that ship.
I will say I love that logo though.
The logo is fucking great.
Something about that logo just evokes, cool is probably not the right word, but it's a great, no, but it's also such a perfect logo in that it feels like it came from the real world. Like it looks like a Blackstone logo. You know what I mean? Like it feels like a real company's logo. Yeah.
In the first 2 episodes, there's already a xenomorph on the loose. It happens very, very quickly. It's not wasting time. It's not one of these things where it's like, oh, you gotta wait to see the alien. And I mean, why? Right? Noah Hawley is like, you've seen 7 movies. You know what the xenomorph can do. Let's not fuck about and pretend like this is something new. Let's just get into it.
Yes. Beautiful. Completely agree.
It's great. Like, all of the sequences with this xenomorph in the background, in the foreground, it's doing its thing. And it's still scary. There is still great tension. I think it really boils down to Giger's design, right? There is something about that design that is so viscerally frightening that even though we've seen it over and over again and we know what it can do, every time that fucker appears on screen, I am tense. I'm like, ugh!
There's a monkey brain thing. Like, I don't know what it is. I never saw aliens in the cinema. So I don't know, I don't get that feeling. But whenever I see that thing, I'm just like, oh shit. Can I also just say, there are some beautiful creative reveals for the xenomorph. There is that one where there's a statue involved. I went back and rewatched that scene a couple times because even on the third time, when I know it was going to happen, I still didn't see it, and I love it. I love it when production and design and camera work and just the play of lights. I love how that is coming back into fashion. There is one sequence, I think it's in the trailer. It's definitely in one of the trailers where one of the characters is a close-up of one of the characters. They're just talking, and then something in the light behind them moves, and you'd never realize that it wasn't supposed to be there. Like, initially you think that the light's just cracked, and then you realize the crack moves, and you go like, holy shit, that was a monster. That was a monster right there. Throughout the whole sequence, that monster was right fucking there. And I love it. I love it when they do shit like that. And I feel like that confident horror work is lost on modern day cinema. I am really enjoying Alien Earth. It's not the series I was expecting.
It's a lot more than the series that we were expecting, but also I'm enjoying it for all of those elements. Like, sure, we've been talking about the technical side of things, and we've been talking about the horror and the sci-fi, but even this notion of a young woman leading her lost boys.
Sorry, young girl, dude. She's 11 or 12.
Okay, so sorry, body of a young woman, brain of a young girl, right?
I had to catch myself as an audience member because there were times when I'd be like, man, why is that guy acting like such a little child? Stop being a little bitch. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, that kid's 10.
And the way
he's
that's
9.
channeled is absolutely brilliant because even in the dialogue, when they enter a room and see something disgusting and they just go, ew, gross. And you're like, oh, wait, yes, that is exactly how a kid would react to something like that.
What initially came off as bad acting choices, I'm like, no. I keep forgetting that as character.
Even Boy Cavalier, the CEO of Prodigy, who is the youngest trillionaire in the world, I mean, even that character as a arrogant Peter Pan, if you will. I mean, there's this sequence when he's just talking to one of his aides, and he just goes on and on about how I'm looking for someone smarter than me because I can't have a good conversation with anyone. And he says it so matter of fact, like, you're all dummies, you're all beneath me, and I'm just looking to have a good conversation.
But he's speaking without insulting, right? He's not being douchey Elon Musk. He's not trying to put you down. He is really thinking in his head, woe is me, nobody I can speak to.
And it's like, poor rich Peter Pan, right?
Yeah.
To be fair, the Peter Pan references are not subtle. There is a Smee, there is Wendy.
The characters' names are all...
Yes, the characters' names are all Lost Boys' names.
I will say, I'm surprised the Disney execs didn't insist on losing the Ice Age stuff. That feels a little... because it's a big part of the characters.
Don't they own Ice Age now? It's a Fox property, right?
Oh, they do. You're right.
So I guess it's easier given that they own the property.
I'm not saying I'm against Ice Age. I'm just surprised that they didn't go with something a little more...
Disney.
Yeah. Like noticeably Disney, right?
But I think maybe they were trying to keep it within the family, right? Since FX is also 20th century. Alien is 20th century. So maybe they went, all right, let's just keep it within that corporation.
The Peter Pan references are quite big. It's not completely devoid of Disney stuff. It's just not front and center, which I guess is okay.
I can't wait to see more. I am so excited by this. It is already ranking very high up in my Alien rankings. And I've only seen 2 episodes. I can't wait to see the remaining 6. Alien Earth. Just highly, 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 highly recommended. Whether or not you're an Alien fan. Actually, you don't have to have seen any Alien things. You can jump right into this because it's just very good television.
In 2025, if you're above the age of 12 and have spent any time on the internet, you probably know what a xenomorph looks like. You probably know what a xenomorph is called.
It's such an integral part of our popular culture.
Or the face hugger. But I think, you're right. You don't need to have seen any of the Sigourney Weaver movie because that doesn't really... we've only seen 2 episodes, but that doesn't play into this at all. And I like that. I like that this isn't a continuation of Romulus or Alien Prison Break. I like that.
Go check out Alien Earth. It is now streaming on Disney Plus Hotstar. It is absolutely brilliant. Let us know what you think once you've seen it. You know how to reach out. We're on Instagram on GogglerMY. You can also email us on podcast@goggler.my or send us a WhatsApp on the Goggler hotline 012-524-5208. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Goggler Podcast.